Good morning, or depending on when you're listening to this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, but today I'm going to bring you some interesting news. Now, we don't often get really early leaks of Pokemon cards. Every so often, a certain retailer will break the street date, put the cards out a little bit early, but the lovely state of North Carolina has been very good to us. In the past few hours, they have, in a flea market, a couple of chaps have found some French Evolutions cards. Now, this is our November set, which is going to be dropping on November the 2nd in USA, Europe, etc. So we were expecting to see Japanese scans of the cards around about now. And certainly, there's a whole bunch of reprint cards, like, take for instance, this Poliwhirl. And we can see that the reprint has upped the HP from 60 to 80. And we can see that Amnesia now does 30 damage as well as stopping your opponent use an attack. And we can see that Double Slap has gone from 30 times how many heads you can hit from flipping 2 coins to 50 times the number of heads you can hit from flipping 2 coins. We've known about these reprints. A bunch of these Japanese reprints have been revealed. They are not terribly exciting. But now we have some new cards revealed, and that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. Now, I don't know how many of you know this, I'm assuming a whole bunch of you do, but these cards are printed well in advance. So they might not be coming out in the US, Europe, etc. till November. They might not be out in Japan yet, but they've been printed in English and a whole bunch of other languages for a long time at this stage. These cards are produced well in advance, so it's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility they could find their way to a flea market in North Carolina. What I see as a little bit strange is, how did French language cards get there? Now, there is a rule in the Pokemon trading card game that in tournaments you can use home language cards. That is to say that if you are living in Europe, any European language is a home language. Ergo, you can use any European language card. Now, in Canada, French is seen as a home language, so you are allowed to use French cards in tournaments. So, I don't know. Maybe they found their way down from Canada. Either way, somebody is getting in a lot of trouble right now because you are not allowed to release these cards before the release date. I have no idea who, got them there or who leaked them. I don't know what happened. What I am saying is somebody messed up. We are not supposed to see these cards yet. And just as a bit of a side note, North Carolina has already given us Pepsi, Krispy Kremes, pulled pork, although I know there is some debate about exactly where that originated. Please don't unsubscribe and run away and hate me. I'm just going by what I've been told. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. And the Charlotte Hornets, my personal favourite NBA franchise, keeps on giving. How cool is this? So we're going to stick with the EXs and the breaks, the fancy cards, although there is a rumour that there is an Electrode coming around. And it has an ability that allows you to knock out this Pokemon and attach it as a special energy to one of your Lightning Pokemon, at which point it provides 2 Lightning energy. Now, this reminds me of Electrode Prime. You get more energy, but of course, you have to KO the Pokemon. It means you give your opponent a prize. If you can think of a Lightning Pokemon that really needs to get set up quickly and then it is amazing, then by all means go ahead and try and use Electrode. Giving up a prize, ladies and gentlemen, is not something you want to do very often. Now, there is a new Mewtwo EX coming out, and the thing about anything like this is we already have a Mewtwo EX. We already have a Mewtwo EX that we really like. It's got damage change. It allows you to swap the number of damage counters from your Mewtwo to with your opponent's active Pokemon. Nice and simple. You use the Shrine of Memory Stadium so that you get your Mega Mewtwo with a whole bunch of HP. If your opponent does not one-hit KO, you damage change and you are completely unhurt. It is the basis of the Mega Mewtwo deck. It is very good. Any new Mega Mewtwo would have to be better. It's not. For 1 energy, you can attach an energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Nobody really cares. For a Psychic energy, you can heal 60 damage from this Pokemon. I mean, that's just a rubbish damage exchange. Heck, it's not even as good as Pokemon Center Lady that you can play as a supporter. They both heal 60 damage, but Pokemon Center Lady also heals special conditions. Whoop whoop. Or for 4 energy, it can do Psyburn for 110 damage. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not good enough. Play the other one. Now we have a Dragonite EX. You'll notice, by the way, that all of these are the original 151 Pokemon, Gen 1 as we call it. That's because this set is based as a reprint, not exactly, but kind of a reprint set of the originals Pokemon cards, the original base set. So, you know, you can understand that. Plus, Pokemon Go only does the originals. And then you've got the 20th anniversary of Pokemon as well. So, some people no doubt will think this is awesome. Some people no doubt will think this is a little bit rubbish. Sorry, it's the way it is. Now, I like Dragonite's ability. I am a fan of Dragonite's ability. When you pop it onto your bench, it just allows you to grab a couple of basic Pokemon from your discard pile and put them into your hand. Grab a Shaymin EX so you can draw more cards. Grab a Pokemon with whom you would like to attack. It's a really nice ability. As for the attack, 130 for 4 energy is a little bit overpriced. The automatic discard of one of your opponent's energy attached to their active Pokemon, and the fact that it says an energy, not a basic energy, meaning you can get rid of stuff like strong energy and double colorless as well, is pretty funky, but 4 energy for 130 is a little bit overpriced. The biggest problem with Dragonite EX is that it is both weak to lightning and resistant to fighting. Everybody thinks Mega Rayquaza is going to be good in the near future. Best counter to that, quite possibly, is Zebstrika, that does a whole bunch of damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is resistant to fighting. And it is a lightning type, which means it will very easily one-hit KO Dragonite EX, and people are likely to be playing it because it runs through cards like Rayquaza and even Shaymin EX very, very quickly. I want it to be good, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm not a huge fan. Pidgeot EX. It's got, for 1 colorless energy, Mimic. If this Pokemon was damaged by an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does the same amount of damage. It's fine. But it's, you know, you're hoping your opponent doesn't one-hit KO you. It's not a great attack. It's fine in a pinch, and if you play this, there will be times you use this, but it's not amazing. For 3 colorless energy, 80 to the active, 20 to the bench. Or, like an underpowered version of Darkrai EX's Night Spear. The thing that really helps it here is that it's 3 colorless energy, so you can use double colorless here, and of course being a basic we have Max Elixir nowadays that you can use to attach extra energy. Just like I said with Dragonite, this is weak to Zebstrika. It's very easily countered, so it's going to have to be good, and I'm not sure it's good enough. Mega Pidgeot. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a Mega. Now, we've got the same problem that it's countered by Zebstrika. We've talked about that. Max Cyclone, 3 colorless energy, 130 damage, and if you wish, but you don't have to, it's your choice, you can make your opponent switch their active Pokemon with one of their bench. And I quite like this for the disruption factor, because you can either you 1-hit KO, or you 2-hit KO, but in the meantime, you make your opponent switch to the bench, which means they might not be able to get the Pokemon they want back into the active, so you're 2-hit KOing with disruption. It's not as good as 1-hit KOing, but if you can't 1-hit KO, the next best alternative is 2-hit KOing with a bit of disruption. Now we have a Slowbro EX, and I think they might be... Now, Slowbros have often, you know, these kind of Pokemon, they've often been kind of jokes in the Pokemon trading card game, and I can only assume they are again, because, oh my goodness, they're garbage. Slowbro EX, for a double colorless energy, you get to heal 60. That's right. The same attack that Mewtwo has for 1 energy, which I said wasn't very good, Slowbro EX has for 2 energy. And you can't attack the following turn. Or you can attach free water energy to do 100 damage. It's garbage. Absolute garbage. Mega Slowbro EX, for free water energy you do 100 damage, and you confuse yourself, But next turn, you get to do 200 damage. Here's the problem. You're confused. So you get to do 200 damage, assuming you flip heads on confusion. Because if you don't flip heads on confusion, it's not going to go very well at all. If you flip tails on confusion, you do 30 damage to yourself. You don't want to do 30 damage to yourself. This is how you end up losing the game. It's not great. Now, there is the Stadium Chaos Tower that you can play, which stops you being confused, or indeed you can play Heavy Boots, which will mean that you cannot be confused. Your retreat cost is high enough to play that card. But then, of course, it's a Mega EX, so you want to be using the Spirit Link. So, yes, you can do 100 one turn, 200 the next for free energy. But really, I mean, just no. Just no, ladies and gentlemen. They want to make you think these cards are good. They're not good. They're just not good. There is a Starmie that has a fun little ability. Now, I'm a fan of Starmie. I'll tell you why in a minute. But you get to use the ability Galactic Spin. Once during your turn, you may discard one card from your hand, choose 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile, show them to your opponent, and put them into your hand. Now, if you're using a deck like Greninja, for instance, where you constantly want energy on your hand to use Water Shuriken and Giant Water Shuriken, well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty funky, because Starmie helps you to get all of them back. Do you want a Stage 1 clogging up your bench? I don't know. But it's an option. Now, the reason this is exciting is because there is a Starmie BREAK, and a BREAK evolution, of course, is just an evolution over the Pokemon. So if you want to use Starmie BREAK, you'd better have a Starmie to use, which is why we're talking about Starmie here when we're really focusing on the new EXs and breaks that have just been revealed. Now, the Starmie I just talked about with a fun ability: 2 energy, 30 damage, flip a coin if heads paralysis. There is a Starmie that I quite like, not amazing, but I quite like from Breakthrough, which for 2 energy does 30 damage and auto paralysis if you and your opponent have the same number of benched Pokemon. And let's not forget, we now have the card Captivating Pokepuff that you can use to force your opponent to bench more Pokemon to try and get the paralysis. It's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. But we're here to talk about Starmie BREAK. Except, now I've known this for some time. Starmie, in French, is Staros. Staros! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Staros. Staros! I have always been a fan of this for this exact reason. And breaks, in France, and most of Europe, in fact, are actually called Turbo. So this card, the one we've seen, it's not called Starmie BREAK. It's called Staros Turbo. Staros! Woo! And if anyone out there listening lives in France or a Francophile country and can get hold of a Starmie, or indeed a Staros Turbo, and would like to sell it to me for a fair price, get in on the comments or tweet me at the Wassy. This card is awesome. But is it actually playable? Is it actually any good? Well, it's alright. It's not amazing, but it's alright. Now, here's the deal. You get to do 100 damage to any of your opponents, or indeed all of your opponents' breaks. Now, I quite like this. Let's take something like Greninja BREAK, 170 HP. So you do 100 to all of the Greninja breaks, and they go, ah ha ha, that's okay, I've got Rough Seas, I can heal 30 damage. I now only have 70 damage done, 100 HP remaining. Oh wait, that's what Staros Turbo is going to be doing next turn. I also think the Xeneas BREAK could see a fair bit of play next year, as could Yanmega BREAK. But Staros Turbo is one of these cards. If breaks become very popular, Staros Turbo will become a really nice counter card, because you can do this attack for just a single energy. And if these breaks don't become very popular, then Staros Turbo is going to sit in your binder. Either way, I need one of these cards, and it can't be the English one. Staros! Woo! Now, there is also a Nidoking break. I'm going to be really brief with this one. I really don't like it. It is a break of a Stage 2, which essentially makes it a Stage 3. Now, that's the same as Greninja break, but Greninja break fits on top of a deck which was already good. People were already playing Breakpoint Greninja because it's good, and it had a spectacular ability. This one for free energy, and you can't use double colourless energy. And Dimension Valley has rotated out, so you can't use that anymore. You get to do 120 damage, and they poison and get 2 damage counters between turns. It is not utterly garbage terrible, but I really don't like it, ladies and gentlemen. It is way too expensive. It's just not even really worth bothering with. Now, just so no one can accuse me of being lazy, it is a break, therefore it must evolve from a Nidoking. There is one in Steam Siege. The ability's fine because it adds to your Nidoqueen's attacks. Brilliant. Now you're using 2 different Stage 2s. And for free energy, again, no Dimension Valley because that's being rotated out. No double colourless. 60 damage plus 30 more for each evolution on your bench. It's not a completely terrible attack. You get 5 evolutions on your bench. You're doing 210 damage. It's a Stage 2. It takes free energy attachments to attack. It is not good. And we're going to finish today by looking at some very exciting news, and that is that we are finally getting Spirit Links for Mega Venusaur, Mega Charizard, and Mega Blastoise. Now, we were given Megas of these Pokemon back in the X and Y expansion. They were the first Megas we got, and I was pretty happy. This looked pretty fun. I was excited. And then, of course, we didn't get Spirit Links. Now, for those of you that don't know, when you evolve to a Mega EX, your turn ends. This makes Mega EXs basically unplayable. So Pokemon released Spirit Links, tools that you attach to your EXs, and as long as you've got the correct Spirit Link attached, you can Mega Evolve, and you don't have to end your turn. This is fantastic. The problem is that they only released them when they decided to start releasing Spirit Links. Pokemon from then on got a Spirit Link. Unfortunately, we didn't get retrospective Spirit Links. We didn't get Spirit Links for Pokemon that had already been released. So we didn't get a Venusaur, Blastoise or Charizard Spirit Link. And then there was hope, because then the Generation set launched, and we got Charizard and Mega Charizard. We got Venusaur and Mega Venusaur. And we got Blastoise and Mega Blastoise. And we still didn't get Spirit Links. And I just gave up hope at that point. Well, no longer, ladies and gentlemen, no longer, we are getting Spirit Links. Now, the one that immediately jumps to mind is the Venusaur from X and Y. You've got cards like Max Elixir that you can use to get him going nice and quickly. You've got Forest of Giant Plants, so you do not have to wait a turn to evolve from Venusaur to Mega Venusaur. And you get to do 120 with Auto Paralysis and Auto Poison. That's right, they become instantly paralyzed and cannot get out of the active, unless they play a card like Switch. You could even play a card like Vileplume to stop them playing a card like Switch. Now, maybe Mega Venusaur's attack cost of 4 is still too high. I don't know. Either way, I am a little bit excited. Speaking of excited, there is a comment section. Tell me which of these cards excites you the most. I have not tried to go through every card in Evolutions in this video. That would be a little bit too much. What I have done is I've gone through the new breaks, or turbos, and EXs and Mega EXs that have just been revealed. Tell me what you think in the comments. There is a like button, click it. It will make me happy. There's a subscribe button, click it. It'll make me happy. Or indeed get a friend to click it on your behalf if you've already subscribed. And of course, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, by far the most important thing, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.